Hello, everyone, and welcome to In Time. I did realize that this is just unlisted, so I'm going to make it listed. But thank you all for joining us.
People will be able to see it.
I know.
Will be able to see it.
I know. Well, and they're not going to get their notifications, which kind of sucks because if you go from unlisted to public, it doesn't. But having said that,
okay.
Yeah, well, and people so rarely get notifications anyway. YouTube just is that way. But all right, there we go. So we got that taken care of. It's now public. And everyone, this is Brooks. We've had him on quite a bit, and one of the few people who is interested enough in politics to have been on with us for almost every episode when we were covering the January 6th hearings, which took. I mean, that was like, I think that was you, pro-lib, myself. It took some dedication. You had to be interested.
I am there's a particular era where it's like the last time I used to be able to call myself a political wonk, and that word no one uses that word anymore. It's such a good fucking word for it, but you don't hear that tossed about. Oh, Brooks.
All right, so I'm glad you think I'm the smartest person you've ever met. I really thank you for saying that.
What can I say, Nick? I love you, man. You're just so clever. I just come on like a dog and pony show. You send me the lines to say beforehand. It's just
yeah.
Is the audio working finally?
It is now finally working. So, just to rehash. We just finished a show. It was the rundown, and I pointed out that I thought Trump had done a brilliant maneuver by opening up active investigations into other people associated with the Epstein files. He will not have to surrender the Epstein files when when Congress asked for them. You, who are a political wonk, who stayed with us all the way through the January 6th hearings, every day of it, you are OG here at In Time, have a different view, and basically all you have to do is say you have a different view, and you get a show. So here you are.
I like game playing on this. This is one of the things I really have enjoyed about our conversations is when it's like talking about the way the rubber's going to hit the road, because there is, and I get the idea of, Trump being clever. He's done this thing, and now because of the way its language is put out, he's not going to have to release them. But let's talk about what that means for the next, 6 months, a year. This story's not going away. If, for example, and this is, like I said, there's there's a lot of paths this could take. Let's presume that he's in the files, which we know, but let's presume it's mostly stuff like what we've seen so far, which is, I think, realistic. I'm not saying there's the other side where it could be that they've got videos of him with a bunch of 9-year-olds. Also possible in every single way. But let's say it's the first one. If he just dumped everything, there is a reality that Trump could just ignore it for 3 or 4 weeks and no one will care in 4 weeks. And then he just does his wag the dog attacking Venezuela. And we eventually have to move off of it. If they just released it and he did that, to me, that's the smartest political move. That's we've seen it. It's tried and true. Clinton has done it many times. Bush Sr., Bush Jr., Obama. This is what you do when you have weird scandals or other things. You wag the dog and you do other shit. But having it go way long, and in a way that you can't just have no investigation. Like, if there is actually an investigation happening into Bill Clinton, I think that's the best fucking thing that could happen. I would love for a whole bunch of people to go to jail, and I want, it would be amazing for me. Like, as far as I'm concerned, if they investigate and they find Bill Gates and Bill Clinton both, like they find shit good, ruin their lives. I don't know if you saw Melinda Gates came out and said that one of the reasons for the divorce was Bill's relationship with Epstein.
Yes,
which means
I did see that.
There's more than like, hi. Like, there's more than a, hey, I knew the guy. It's like, your wife leaves you because you're friends with a dude. That's not kind of friends, right?
Yep.
So there's stuff there. I'm down with this. And so, but with that, if they go there, they're going to have to charge if they find stuff. Like, they're going to have to, internally, externally, whatever it is. They're the true believers of these things. The people who are in the FBI, the people in the DOJ who are doing it. You're not going to be able to let Bill Clinton get off with anything. And I think there's a very good chance that both these guys are in there. So if he's doing investigations into people who his people are ideologically dying to put in jail, and who also have more money than God, which means discovery and lawyers, that's the dumbest goddamn thing he could have done. Like, I don't understand how, like, there's a long term to this that is so stupid.
Yeah, but that's it.
I don't understand that thing. And then also, if they leak 10 emails a week for the next year, that's enough to keep the story alive and to slowly make everyone in his base do what Marjorie Taylor Greene did, which is get disowned for saying, I'm not back in this, and in just one way. She's a psychotic Nazi in every other way. One thing she'll say, she won't go, oh yeah, no, Trump's cool. She's like, hey, you should release the Epstein files. And he's like, I disown you. You think that there's not going to be more calls? There's not going to be more pressure. There's this, this is a slow, fucked up build. And this is like, so if we go back, let's take Iran-Contra, for example. Iran-Contra was stagnated and they let it go. They pushed it over and over and over, and they kept like hiding things and doing what they could. It kind of worked because it was complicated. People didn't, it was a political thing, complex. It wasn't kid banging, which is what Trump is being accused of. That's not a thing that goes away. Like, this is stuff that haunts people. This is stuff that people will sit with, and his followers will have to actually at some point decide, hey, is Marjorie Taylor Greene the one I want to disown? And for them, again, not me, I think all these people are terrible. But for people who like these people, do you hate her? Trump? Like, how does this work for you as a person who loves them, as a person who's into that? I don't know of a better way to basically make your base slowly erode over the course of the next year in the lead up to the fucking 2026 midterms. Like, it's and that's, again, if it's just minor. Now, let's say on the other hand, there's a real reason he doesn't want this out, because it turns out half the tapes are him and Jeffrey with some kid, or even a 12-year-old or whatever. Like, wow.
Anything like that.
Or he's got video of, because he probably introduced Melania to Trump, right? And then the first time they ever had sex was on the Lolita Express, it seems, apparently. That if he has video of that, do you think that their first meeting and their public sex in front of Jeffrey Epstein on the Lolita Express wasn't filmed? Like, do you think he did? Do you think he was a gentleman
and
like
he kept it,
like 9.5 week sex scene, or do you think it was, all right, here's how it works, here's $5,000? Like, it's like, like the video that he has for all these people, right?
Yeah,
that's like on the worst side of things. If that exists, then it exists for Clinton, and it exists for Gates, and it exists for like all these fucks, and they're going to investigate. And how many people need to see that before they go, yeah, I'm leaking that? Like, it's such a, there's no winning this. He's failed. If it's the first and he just dumped it, then wag the dog, go invade Venezuela or Argentina or Antarctica, like whatever, do the wag the dog thing. But this is going to play out. And this is like the dumbest shit he could. I think it's the dumbest shit ever. I just am so stunned. So like I get what you're saying, but that's like my argument is this is really not what to do.
Yeah, and I see your argument. I'm not sure that ours are actually that mutually exclusive.
They're not.
I think there's a very real chance he's going to lose no matter what he does. So at this point, he's just trying to elongate it, and then eventually he pardons himself, and then he, this
legal strategy. Like that's the rich person's thing. You just put a lawyer on it, and you just make it last for forever. But he's in a position right now where it's not him. If it was just like Trump, that's one thing. But it's the entire work of the 60 years of the Heritage Foundation and libertarian groups and conservative groups and right-wing Christian groups and Nazis and all of that are riding on him getting through the next 12 months and surviving the midterms and finishing their act. It's not going to work. At this point, like, how do you keep your base moving this way? How do you do 12 months of like, oh, we're not going to release more, promise there's nothing else, tomorrow there is something, and then what do you say? And it's just over and over and over.
So if you're the Heritage Foundation, what do you do? I mean, there's evidence to me that they've been wanting to get rid of him for a while, but they've already tethered themselves to him. So,
and I don't believe there's anyone else. I've had this conversation.
Who's good? Yeah.
Like if they get rid of him in one way or another, like via microphone or however else they may have done other things in the past. That thing that they've done, is it J.D. Vance? No, Trump, because he is an empty suit and a con man at base, he's not really a Nazi. He is shitty, but he's not a Nazi, but he's open to it. He's not really a capitalist, but he's open to it. Yeah. He's not really a technocrat, but he's open to it. He's not like he's not a Christian, but he's open to it. Like he's all of those things and he's nothing. And so as that goes away, J.D. Vance is two of those, and the balancing act that is required for all of those positions of power falls apart again, like we've seen over and over and over in other presidencies. I don't see anyone else stepping up. It's kind of amazing.
And even the sort of the hidden ones in the background, so-called Thiel and so on. I mean, no skills for dealing with people. He can't.
I would love Thiel to try to run. I would. Like he's a walking aneurysm. Like that's all I can think when I look at him. Like he's what an aneurysm looks like, right? Like his face is like a one vein that goes through his eyes and out the back of his head, and it's like, it's these people are all freaks, but he's a freak who's able to unite them because of his con man ability. He just can bullshit. He can go. He's the kind of person who can go on Fox News 2 days ago and say that the American people are talentless and that we have to have immigrants. Like, what the fuck? Like, that's insane. Like, that's fun. He did this. He said this. And it's because he also can then go, well, that's not what I meant. And everyone will go, oh, yeah, that's not what he meant. Because they're empty-brained, soulless hacks. They're conservatives. What do you expect? So that thing he does, he's unique. And I don't think there's a lot of other people who have that or have built up that kind of mythology or setup that can be put in this position.
It is almost, I don't want to, oh my God, that overused the perfect storm, but I'm sitting there going, what is it that makes Trump capable of doing it? And part of it has to be that he's so vapid. But it's just like...
He knows how to bullshit. It's very easy to, it's all he's done.
Yeah.
His entire thing is, he was one of the first people, and it's an amazing history. He's one of the first people to really brand a personality. Like, Trump as a thing, like if you lived in the 80s, or like I grew up in the 80s, and I remember Trump the board game, Trump showing up as like the rich guy, like these things exist. My grandparents bought Trump the board game, his dumbass like gold black thing. He shows up at Home Alone 2 because he's a rich guy. He is an empty suited. He's that symbol. He is a position more than a person. And the way that like Kim Kardashian is, right? But he was doing it way before. Like, he owned the idea of like what Trump is before the Kardashians or before, Paris Hilton. It was the Trump. And the Trump thing, so much so that like the Simpsons didn't predict that Trump would be president, but that it was feasible enough because he could be anything. He was kind of this weird power hungry brand. That thing existed in a very special way, and it's really miraculous. But this doesn't work anymore. 50 years of doing this, 30 years of doing this, and putting yourself in a position of basically all the scams, the only thing that exists at that point is people's like investment in the system that you're able to then enact. And he's slowly showing that they no longer can do this.
Yeah, but it's not that it doesn't work anymore. It's that he's gone a bridge too far, and it's been I mean, imagine if he hadn't ever been involved in Epstein. He'd be unstoppable right now. I mean, he'd be a machine that would completely remake the United States into a fascist. I mean, it's these other faults that the bullshit is still being swallowed. There's still MAGA is still there. It's just this one issue from the beginning for them too. To be fair, that's where the line has been drawn on where they'll accept it, not that the bullshit is any less efficacious.
I don't know. I've the last 5-6 years, I've been like personally, and I'm not saying this is accurate in any way. It's just as I've been reading more about Hitler's rise and the rise of the Nazis and Mussolini and a lot of these fascist moves, they tend to be not drastically different. These aren't really ideologues. We have a really weirdly warped view of how good of a speaker Hitler really was because we don't speak German and because we're also not, racist, weirdo Nazis in a position. That the setup of where they come from and how they build is so systemic and so built by the conditions of the society that, to me, it's less that he's, because of Epstein, unable to do it. It's we're starting to see that the structure of how America exists is, to me, I believe, fundamentally incapable of making that final step in the same way. There's a lot of reasons for this. If he were to deploy, I was on Newsmax the other day. They didn't use the clip. I've been doing a lot of protest shit, and
I did see you on CNN though. You were on CNN, I think. Yeah.
The Newsmax clip they didn't use is where I said, I just wish he would stop being I used a word for coward. I was angry. And just send the airborne and drop them in. Drop the parachutists in, drop Marines here. Actually drop them in Portland and have them look around because they've seen shit. They've seen real war zones and they're not going to react the way that people think. There's a reason they're putting ICE and these uneducated, unspecialized, who've never seen combat idiots in every position. Because if you actually send American soldiers to one of these cities, they'd go, what the fuck? Why it doesn't work the same way. Now they're doing a whole bunch of stuff to change that, and I know people have opinions on the military, whatever it may be. I don't share a lot of like the hyper partisan, they're all fascist. That's people are people. The way America is built is too large. There's not enough of a way for people to hold a city. American military couldn't even fucking really hold Iraq, and Iraq doesn't even close to the complexity of all of the continental United States and all the cities within. So what is the idea when we talk about that final shift? It's just not going to land the same way. And so it's one of those things that I think the conditions that did produce Hitler, the conditions that did produce the Nazis, that produced throughout all of Europe as they grew their fascist sort of, I don't know, every color, every taste, every local flavor. That thing is happening, but it works drastically differently because of the way that America exists. And Trump being that central thing, or that idea of having that central despot inside of a country of 350 million people that is the size of larger than Europe and harder to drive across than Europe, and doesn't have supply lines like even part of Europe did, let alone the idea that like you could supply from Moscow to fucking Portugal. That's not gonna fucking happen here. Like, these things put us in a really tough sort of place to go, their idea of what they want to do is based in a really weird DC, New York, Eastern Seaboard centric thing that doesn't really play. And they're not seeing it play. I was out tonight again. There's 40 fucking ICE guys who walk out of the ICE transfer facility here in Portland because there are 6 protesters outside, and it's the most pathetic thing I've ever seen. They're screaming and they're yelling and they're like screaming, "Get back! You're walking too far forward!" And they're like 30 feet away, and it's like, but this is fascism, but it's located in like 20 square feet of Portland. And the rest of it is kind of a boring, normal, liberal American city. Yay. So this is the thing we're running into. It's these pockets where Stephen Miller can stage his lie that immigrants are dangerous. They've got to take them down. They've got to send in these brown shirts and the secret police Gestapo bullshit to, illegally kidnap and traumatize families and individuals because they're illegal. And then at the same time, out the other side of their mouth, say that we have to bring in immigrants because Americans are untalented. They can do this because ultimately, at the end of the day, it's a fear-based response, and they don't know what else to do because they don't have an actual solution. And I think we're seeing a lot of really weird directions this is going to go. Is, again, just my opinion. But a lot of weird directions. The Epstein stuff to me is just a continual destabilizing because every time I run into one of these people, we had Enrique Tarrio, and a bunch of they were at Portland facility last night. I think they're there again tonight. Super weird to run into these fucking people in real life, by the way. It's super fucking surreal experience. Like, who you're like, just like, it's. Have you ever seen like a celebrity on the street? Except like this is like I wanted to like vomit, but I like honestly didn't think it was him. It was the weirdest moment. But like they're trying, and they're failing. But when you see them and you go, "Oh, you support the kid banger," they don't have a response anymore. What are they gonna say? Like. Well, they don't. No, he's not, because technically we don't have them revealed because the files are redacted, and they're not going to say that to you. Like, it's just it's a really wild thing.
You've got to tell me why the frogs work. I assume you're still doing the frogs.
Well, I mean, frogs. We're doing everything.
Okay.
Frogs are the most in demand because of their mimetic quality, but. What it comes down to is the way fascism grows, and I'm open to having this argument with anyone. I'm very interested in people taking the opposing side on this if they really believe that. If you look back through the history of fascist movements, they visit violence on minorities, and minorities return by visiting violence upon or responding. Justifiably, in my mind, the Black Panthers visibly actually justified. The ghetto uprisings of the Jews in Germany, justified. But justification is like a feather in your cap when the reality is the power of the state is there to respond back. And when they can, and when response is fire meeting fire, it's escalatory. That's all it does. Even if you're wholly justified worldwide. For example, Israel. That's all I have to say. Like Gaza, Israel.
Yeah.
Like, and I do not think I would never say that like a huge number of things in Gazans are doing are insanely justified. It's wild what people are like. When your family is threatened, they kind of got no limits. And that's just
when your children are starving to death, it's amazing what a human being will do to another human being.
Yeah.
Stop it.
And if you value humans, you understand that in a lot of ways, because Israel believes they're justified too. Israelis, certainly, the terrified Israelis, I've met some. They're out of it, but there's also Gazans who scream that the Jews want to kill every Muslim in the world, and that's not exactly right either. So everyone's terrified, and when you start escalating, the state wins. because they have military, they have money, they have power, and they have the power to silence and close off. And as they do that, you'll see things like, for example, the mayor of where the protests are taking place, the ICE facility outside of Chicago. I was there a few weeks ago. And they shut down everything. They made it you can be there from like, I think it's 2 to 6 or 10.
Yeah, they set time.
They have a curfew.
Yeah.
And then we were there. We happened to be there the last day before the tent was destroyed, and they took everything away. The rules of what it means to be there and to set up, if you respond with violence, which again, to protect people being taken away and disappeared, especially families, I can debate a lot of people on whether or not it's justified. Justification doesn't matter, because they will come in, they will destroy you. And when they have to do more, and when people who are terrified, people who live in Oklahoma and Denver and in suburbs of Chicago are scared, and they're seeing that there's this violence happening and people burning and oh my God, what's happening here? They'll, oh my God, please just make me safe. I just want my kids to be safe. And it will continue. So what do the frogs and everything do? You can't do shit to us. The people in inflatables aren't carrying weapons because you can see it. 2, they're not about to run from a crime. You can't run in these inflatables. You haven't seen it. 3, if you do something, it's the fucking frog or the unicorn. Like you're not like hiding in black bloc and then disappearing into a crowd. There's no crowd there. So there's this weird thing that happens where immediately the police and people who aren't there out of malice. For example, ICE is there mostly out of malice. They're angry, bigoted fucks. I don't believe every cop is there to like beat and kill protesters. Sorry, lefties, apologies. I think there's a few of them who certainly are, but I think most of them are there and kind of scared and a little nervous, but it changes their mood. And it changes the mood of the protesters, because now the protesters are there to just have their voices heard. And lastly, when ICE does something, when they shoot a frog, today we watched them hit a unicorn or an axolotl, an inflated one with like a few pepper balls, and they bounced off, which is hilarious. When they spray in the frog's intake hole, all the mace, that visual is it. In the same way that person can't run, that frog, the next day at work at ICE, when they're gathered around, hey, Stevens, thanks for making us look like assholes. That's what they're saying the next day, because Stevens is the one they know who did it. I don't know the guy's name. It's water cooling the same way that if you're at Best Buy and you fuck up a sale or you say some dumb shit, everyone the next day is laughing at you. Suddenly you're the guy who knocked down a wiener dog, which this happened in front of me. Knocked down and beat up a wiener dog, and the wiener dog screamed, "He touched my penis," which was hilarious and amazing. And that thing is a clip, it's a moment, and it's not violence. It deflates their ability to extend this into more violence, because that's what they want. That's all they want. They want justified protesters, and I mean it, justified protesters being justified in their actions, so further unjustified action can be taken against them. That's how it works. That's why it's always worked. So this is something that we haven't seen really done. Nonviolent protest has worked when it worked, and it's in line with a lot of other things, some very particular movements that I happen to be a big fan of, but it's not really nonviolent. It's not really, anti-protester or anti-black bloc, saying, hey, all these people who are there, and I've been around a lot of black bloc, a lot of Antifa people, they're there for mutual aid. They're like weirdly intense, but intensely caring people who like are there to help, and they don't want to start shit. They're there to respond. That's what the fascists want. A frog doesn't respond. A frog dances, blows bubbles, plays music, and they don't know what to do about it. Because every day people are seeing, hey, look at this protest at ICE. Look at how stupid these people look in aerobics. Oh my God. But wait, what are they protesting? Well, they're protesting ICE kidnapping people. That's it. That's the story. And that's the story people see. And with that, the unintended side effects we're seeing, more people are coming out to protest because they're They're bringing their kids. They're bringing older people are coming out, people in wheelchairs, because No Kings, for example, which isn't really a protest, it was a rally. And there's a difference. I've had to tell people about this, like the difference between rallies and protests is like night and day. A rally is everyone's there. There's really not going to be violence. We kind of know because it's like a more wholesome, family-oriented thing. And that vibe means that, like on No King's Day, it's the largest protest in history of America, no violence. Beautiful, amazing. But the police and Antifa, like, they didn't get into it because of that same thing. They knew this is kind of the jam. If we can bring that to protests, which is what we're doing, then that sort of response or shift becomes actually, these are safe too. More people should be coming down. Do you want to bring friends? Do you want to set up? Last night we spent an hour and a half. We cooked a big giant pot of chicken vegetable soup, and a dude brought bread, and we fed people. We fed we fed the protesters, and more people showed up. And it was, when you see it, when you have video, and this happened last night in Portland, when you have video of an 8-year-old getting hit with pepper balls because ICE doesn't know who they're shooting because they're just assholes, that video, that goes a little more viral than people want it to, especially on the other side.
In his acceptance of the Mark Twain Prize, Jon Stewart talked about the assault on democracy, but he also said that the way you know when a democracy is really under attack is when they go after the comedians. And that's because the thing fascists can't deal with is comedy. They can't deal with being mocked. The frog is obviously hilarious. Is that the same kind of ethos, or you're tapping into the fact that
it's rebuilding the stage, because that's the reality. Like I was talking earlier, this isn't the same thing as like when we're talking about like the Nazis rolling across Verdun. Like, this is not that. This is they're trying to stage stories in various places so they can blast them over. It's Fox News' business model. It's Newsmax's business model. They blast it over and over and over, and they get people at home scared because they're too dumb to actually do research, and they live in places where they'll never see anything that contradicts it, because why would they? Everyone around them is white, and they live in suburbia, and they probably never leave home except to go to church and to Costco. So that existence means they never are going to be able to contradict this. The rest of us get to go, hey, this is actually not really true. My parents are exceptional mega people, which is a whole, I guess, kind of a problem. But they believe, my dad believed, Portland was on fire and burning. And I live here. And we FaceTimed with my kids at Salt and the Straw getting ice cream, like downtown Portland. And it's a beautiful day because there's nothing. It's nothing. There's no homelessness. There's no crime. It's a fucking bougie fuck city. It's Portland. I'm always stunned. It's like, have people never seen like Portlandia? It's a joke, but it's not that much of a joke. It's not like, oh, it's actually burning down. That's why we're doing the joke about the guy who actually wants to know the name of the chicken that's being cooked. Like, that's not how humor works. It's instead, they're so broken because they don't have that sort of, oh, this isn't true. This isn't real. This isn't happening. And that stage is something that our job, and I mean that as you, Nick, everyone here who's watching, our job is to realize they're setting the stage. And the question is, are you going to be an actor or extra on their stage, or are you going to build a stage of your fucking own? And our goal is to do the second. Our goal is that last, because the ability for us to actually change how people are looking at things, the ability for us to change what any of these things mean, to alter that little weirdness, to just push back a bit, that's all it takes. Portland had the justices here who pushed against and stopped Trump from getting the National Guard deployed here. We were cited in the fucking judicial thing, the fucking inflatables. And that, I think, is all you need to say. Like, we're changing the stage. And the fascists don't like that because their entire world is this like paranoid, narcissistic, navel-gazing bullshit. And the moment you change the stage, they don't have grounding. They have nothing to stand on. They don't know what the fuck is up or down. They just know that they need to be more and more racist. And as they do that, it kind of reveals to people who are in that semi-moderate thing. One of the stories that always stuck with me about World War II, there's a lot of them, But when the Americans were on the scene at, I can't remember if it was Dachau or one of the main horrifying concentration camps, death camps, they went into the town that surrounded the death camp, and everyone there kind of sort of didn't know or did know what it was. And the stories of the GIs of how they talked about, I mean, they did a lot of killing. Again, justification's its own story here, but they went from house to house and they made people come and look at what was here. And they talked about not that some people were aware, blah, 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 but that people were like shocked, but not blown away. The GIs were blown away of like how bad it was, but the people who were local were surprised yet not surprised. Yeah. The ability for people to live in two places, the ability for people to witness horrifying things and justify them, to consider a Mexican woman being beaten in the street and stolen away and disappeared, just, you know, cracking a few eggs to make an omelet, or the cost of progress, or like the ability to say that requires a narrative, period. That's that. There is, people don't have like an innate racist button that's being touched over and over, that they require a narrative and justification. And that narrative requires a stage, and that stage requires a lot of fucking work to keep going. So break it.
I don't know why you just got me thinking. I do know why. I have a Potemkin village stage set for Putin now, as he tries to continue to believe that he can reconstitute the old Soviet Union.
It's all stage and narrative. That's the fascist playbook. If you go, I have a whole bunch of books to recommend on all of these things, but if you just go back and you look at like actually what was happening in Weimar Germany, the opinion pieces, there's the Weimar Republic source book is this huge book. If you can find a copy, there's a PDF out there that they just went to this huge place of like all the opinion pieces from 1926 to 1934, I think, from every newspaper in all of the German Republic, whatever the fuck thing. And it wasn't an overnight thing. This didn't happen in a day. It was stories told, and you can start to see when certain people accepted part of this story or built off of it. And you can see the like narrative web and crystallization sort of build around Germany until it was done. And that thing, I don't think works anymore. I really don't. Like, America does a whole bunch of fascist shit, and I think it's weird. The world does a whole bunch of fascist shit. Like, where the world's fucked up, people are fucked up, leadership's fucked up, capitalism's awful. But like, we're in a really weird place where I don't know if fascism can beat capitalism. And it would have to in these cases. And I mean, like, in a very particular way. Like, we have to get to the place where, we would rather have no profits than have immigrants. Trump switching on this, and Elon switching, Elon's now giving a bunch of money to the Republicans again instead of starting his own party. I wonder why. I wonder if Trump gave on this. So now he's saying this. Does global capitalism allow for this level of fascism to continue? Or are we starting to see the cracks in all of it? It's fascinating. Like, I genuinely, this is an amazing time to watch.
So, as you said it would be, I remember having you on, probably, I think last time we had you on was way too long, probably 6 months ago, and you were at least as fascinated as...
Humanity is amazing, man.
Let me ask you, one of the things that I hear a lot is people saying, okay, there is no going back. Trump has changed so much that even if he, somebody drops a copy of the Epstein files, turns out the NYPD kept a copy, they release it, he's guilty of all these terrible things, he pardons himself, but he has to flee the country because, people would kill him if they, and then the Democrats sweep in, you get, a Democratic president, House House and Senate, and maybe they even decide, we need to add 2 or 4 new members, justices, and they're liberal and they're along the lines of the ones that are currently there, you still aren't going to be able to roll back all the damage that's been done, because so much of law is the perception, not the reality, and we've now seen a very different reality. So what do you think about that?
I agree, and I think there's no way to handle it except to be positive about it. There was a weird thing that happened with Trump's first election. 𝐒𝐨𝐜𝐜𝐿 and a whole bunch of genuinely caring people who care about leftist issues and everything had a mentality of just vote for Trump, fuck it, burn it all down. He didn't do it the first time around. He fucked with things, and Biden actually had a chance to right the ship. To be perfectly frank, if he had tried Trump and a whole bunch of stuff and they'd done things, I think he could have righted the ship, and American liberal hegemony could have probably continued on its path for a while without capsizing or anything. But I do actually believe at this point that I don't think people understand how absolutely fucked this government is as a functioning bureaucracy at a fundamental level. The way that there's no Department of Education starting in January. What the fuck does that even mean? How does that even fucking work as a thing? How do we have education without standards? How do you build a public education sector if you don't have 2/3 of the votes in the Senate? You don't. And the president can't do it by fiat. Not really. You can't build a bureaucracy by fiat. So how does this work from here? There's going to be a lot of things that we're going to have to absolutely reckon with in, I think, genuinely uncomfortable places that people don't know yet. Medical system at large everyone knows it's broken, sure, but it's I've never felt it was anything but broken, and I don't think anyone's hey, it broke this month for me. It's always been kind of shit, and if you've ever had to really deal with it, it's always been kind of fucked. But now, because of how Medicare and Medicaid in January are going to be fundamentally changed, forever, and the number of people fired, the bureaucracy, the funding, the hospitals, everything that's closed out, that's going to completely change the face of medicine in America in a way that after 6 months you cannot roll back. There's not going to be let's go do that again. That's not going to be a thing. How do you rebuild? That's fucked. I think the military, as odd as this may seem, because Trump's Republicans are generally pro-military, they've privatized and moved so much to lackeys and shitty people, and some of the really good admirals and high-end people, I know lefties have their, but the people who are true believers in America and aren't Trump followers, they've been kicked out, but they believe in the bureaucracy of the Army and the military and Marines, the Navy, the Air Force, in a way that doesn't work underneath a non-dictator. So how do you build a military that's functional in this way? How do you deal with the security apparatus or social security state? And beyond that, if you haven't watched, DEF CON every year is one of my favorite hacker conventions and things to watch on YouTube. I highly recommend it generally. If AI and LLMs being integrated into things the government's doing is happening actively because we live in hell, which is fine. We live in hell. There is no such thing as private data if it's been touching an LLM in any way, for a bunch of reasons I'm not going to go super deep into, but you can extract private data that's just been asked, that's been talked about.
And what you're referring to is an AI. So for the audience, I'm letting the audience know that
I'm referring to what people call AI.
Yes, thank you.
GPT, GitHub, any of those things, all that stuff. We're going to live in a place where about 6 to 9 months from now, most of your medical history is just going to be public. Most of your private history, I'll be able to look up and probably get your social security number and address and everything anytime I want without much money, because all of DEF CON was horrifying this last year for me. It broke my brain. The tech is in a really fucked up place. We're fucked there. but there's also fundamentally no capital flowing through us business-wise. So let's step outside of the government and talk about the bureaucracy of the capitalist system. All of the money, something like 80 to 90% of all VC has gone into LLMs, but not into new companies that are building new things or moving stuff forward. It's into hardware and actually commodification of AI as a thing, which will yield no profit. It can't. It fundamentally can't yield profit because of how these things function. So capital's done. That's fun. Think about that for a sec. Capital's done. We've forever fucked as a country our trade or tariff capabilities with any country in the world. No country will ever do a real deal with us that's long-term because it's been made clear that not only do presidents go back on their own word, but Congress will let them do this and they don't care. And the Supreme Court will let them do this. They don't. That's done as a thing. Like whatever.
And as soon as you switch presidents, there's a 50-50. It's over anyway, because every 4 years, because that's what Trump did with and he didn't even what is it? He didn't even invalidate or redo the deal. He just lied about it and said they broke it when they didn't. But anyways, please continue.
And so, like, I wasn't a fan of what Obama was doing with, China and the Trans-Pacific Partnership deal that he had set up and the, like, secondary NAFTA and the weird shit. I hate all of those deals, but they're fundamentally not possible now. And that's a weird place to be. Like, I don't actually know what that means as a thing. Like, so... Is there a part of our society that 4 or 5 years ago we took for granted that still exists today? I don't believe there is. And so at that point, when we get to the place where 5 or 6 very wealthy Republican people own all of the media in the country, which we're actually really on the precipice of, and they're all Trump supporters, and they're all real Trump right-wing psychotic fans, what does it mean for us to have media? What does it mean for us to take that in at the same time that AI is generating more media than all people put together? What the fuck does that mean for people like you and I who create new content, who try to build stuff? How does this work? So, no, I would say actually fundamentally the world is changing, and over the next 5 years, it's going to be something unrecognizable to us in every single way without anything carrying through.
Well, what pisses me off is I'm going to become my dad, because the reality is it's going to change so much. It'll be unrecognizable to you and I, but our kids will be able to swim in it. And they'll be like, what's wrong with you? Why can't you keep up with the fact that nothing's real anymore? It's just like, because I need reality.
I'm jamming with that. Like, this is my personal philosophy of things. It's like, I'm actually really excited about like what that means, because to me, the only way out of that is to move to hyper-local politics. I don't believe it's possible at this point to have state level or national or international politics anymore in this country. I think that's the thing we're going to start to see, because you can't trust anything you see, can't trust anyone you talk to, you can't be aware of anything unless you meet hand to hand. So there's no way of doing anything except for a literal handshake in person with another human, which means it's going to be hyper-local politics, hyper-local art, hyper-local TV is going to, like, all these things I think are going to start to return as technology eats itself alive and destroys the semblance of what could have been one of the greatest inventions of all time, the internet and, connected communications. But it's going to be an interesting story.
That was actually why I think I wrote The Water Thief, and in it everybody uses paper, nothing's connected because of exactly the phenomenon. It just got so far on one side. They're like, no, we can't trust communication, we can't trust anything if it's not on paper, and if somebody didn't write it out by hand, it didn't happen. So nobody prints any. So it's the future.
Valerian jihad, my friend.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So I wasn't even. Yeah.
No, it's one of those things that. There isn't a thing left. And yes, the world's unrecognizable from a few years ago if you want to talk about that. But I mean, our ability to, just a few months ago, I've been on Snap. My family's been on Snap because it's been a struggle. I live in a weird place because I'm a capitalist. I raised money for previous businesses. I've had very successful jobs, and capital has not flowed into any of the work I do. Tech, games, entertainment, there's no money in any of it anymore coming in. It's all moving into this weird LLM place. So because of that, my wife and I, we've been on Snap. We've been on government assistance for insurance and a few other things for our kids because Washington's exceptionally good with it. These government programs that absolutely I could count on and are the reason that we've been able to do what we're doing, and I've been able to continue to do what I'm doing, they're not dependable anymore.
Yeah.
Period. Like, I can't depend on that. No one can.
But now this is a problem this isn't just going to affect the U.S. This is going to affect, so how are other countries that are currently far more stable than us, Western countries, are they going to be able to create some sort of infrastructure to deal with it, or no? They're going to suffer the same way too.
I don't know. If you take the most dyed-in-the-wool liberal American lover who wants to get the bureaucracy back on track, I fundamentally don't understand how they can do that. I don't think there's, after this, the destruction of all of it, the way it's been moved, the way it's been handled, the way that we know that an extraordinary amount of payout data and private data from the government was handed over to Russia and to different AI or LLM groups for training. Like, what the fuck? At that point, like, there's nothing.
Well, and you've seen it done. You know it can be. You know every single law can be broken at this point. There is nothing that a president cannot. Should he put enough time and effort into it, there's nothing he can't do. He really can be a king. So what, you know, and we know that now.
I'm actually gonna. This is
yes. You said it wouldn't work here. Yes,
it doesn't work here. He can put himself in that position, but like, no one listens to him. Like, even his own fucking states don't really listen to him. Texas doesn't do what he says. Yeah. Texas modifies it, and they do their own version of it. So, like, when you talk about a king, and it's a very specific distinction, the way despots work and have to work is that all meaning and all knowledge has to work through them. They are the fount, the source, the connection to God. My father, your mother, my mother. It has to be everyone and everything going through them. That's not how, none of these people work like that. Even for the hardcore Trumpers, like, they have faith in his story, but they're not like, Trump is the end all be all God and king. Like, even the people who anoint him with oils don't believe that stupid shit. So, like, what does it mean for him to be a king? He might as well just already be it. He's a fucking, in his head, out of his skull, like, thinking, oh, I'm going to say whatever, blah, 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 blah. But it's not even an edict in Washington. He's not even in the city. He can't control his own fucking city. It's someone hit one of his stormtroopers with a fucking sandwich, and the fucking jury went, no, we're good. He's fine. What is a king? Like, it's the most impotent king that's ever existed. It's Elon Musk. The story goes that he fucked his dick up getting an implant, so now he can't have sex with women, which is hilarious to me if true. But that's to me the symbol of the presidency, is a trillionaire who's unable to fuck. That's to me where we're at.
Oh, okay. So, I don't know. Any other thoughts? It's getting a little late over here, so I'm probably going to get going. It's about 11. We do have to have you all on more often.
I can literally go forever. So.
Oh yeah, well, I could listen forever. And these are the kinds of back and forths I enjoy, and I don't get to do enough of them. In Time is not called. I mean, it's In Time. We now say independent news because people are like, "What is it?" We're an independent news program, but it's as much as I love reporting on the news, and I do enjoy doing that. I love the discussions and learning shit and trying to find something to push back on. You and I tend to agree more often than not. I'm sure Xandring would have been happy to join us, but I was like, I think I'm gonna keep it as tight as possible.
I don't let people get words in edgewise often because I can just go. I'm very sorry about that. But it's the reality, and if there is, and I mean this. Because I do try to say, like, people should be generally hopeful. It's easy to be down in these places we're at. It is very, very easy to be horrified at the world, to see what's happening around, again, Gaza, the fact that there are over 1,000 people missing from the first concentration camp in Florida that these fucking people built, which is literally, by the way, how the Nazis started. Like, yes. That's not great at all.
That's one way to put it.
I get it. But, like, the way you respond to it is either join their stage or build your own. And their lack of control locally, their inability to understand how things are working, the way that the Republicans for a long time took over school districts, city councils, whatever it may be, because people didn't know that politics mattered. And now that politics matters, those people are losing everywhere, because it doesn't take a lot of people just going, well, actually, we're fucked so much, I have free time. I'm fucked so much, I have free time. So I'm going to city council. I'm going downtown. And now that I'm no longer like, I don't have a cushy fucking job, fine. It's like, oh, fuck, I have time to do these things, and I'm not alone. Other people are running, other people are winning, and you can do that too. Change the fucking stage. Go find out who in your area you can go up against, go annoy someone, go yell at your city council. And it's not hard. And again, these people don't really want to deal with that. They thought being a Republican would be easy because they're dumb. They're Republicans. Like, that's the nature of the beast.
All right. Well, thank you very much for coming on, and I'm really glad. I'm glad we did a separate show, and I'm so delighted, always delighted to have you here. I apologize, I was distracted for a minute. I would like to say to those of you who have been around for a while, Nate the Lawyer was a YouTuber who started roughly around the same time we did. He and I were in very similar circles. He has been very successve in his work. He and I used to talk actually quite frequently. We both sort of went separate directions, but I've still always been a fan of him personally. It came to my attention during the stream that unfortunately he is quite ill. He's undergoing surgery tomorrow. This is public knowledge. Apparently, he's had a few of his legal friends go tell other people. He has been on this show a number of times, and he has been very good enough. I am not a lawyer. I do teach law at the high school level, and I'm an autodidact in the law, but I am not a lawyer. But he has had me on his channel. He is a lawyer, former prosecutor, former defense attorney, long record, and he has always listened to everything that I have to say and treated me with dignity and respect, which he does of most people, does of the people that I think know him. At any rate, we wish him the best, and we wish his family the best. And I thank you to the person who let me know it was during the show. But at any rate, we came up kind of together. So what I am going to do is, Brooks, what are you doing after we go? You got to be doing something after we go.
I am. We're going to be doing a little bit of reacts, but I'm going to be talking through a handful of books. It'll be a little bit more somber, a little bit more booky, nerdy shit. But a few reacts in there, though, because there's some interesting stuff I want to talk about with LLMs. I want to talk through the big one is show what I'll send it to you too. The DEF CON video fucked me up. Like, this was one of so there's this theory that I know existed that, hey, LLMs, they produce data. How do you go back and get it? In the New York Times, they actually showed that you could just ask for, give me the rest of the article. Give me the rest of the article. And so that was in their lawsuit. And so the guy wanted to figure out, hey, how do I do that? But like, can I get someone's like social security number, home address, and other shit? Because if it's scraped, if it's in there, and he showed how, and it's really bad, actually. Like, it's,
oh my God,
it's really like, I've done a handful of videos at this point on AI. I did my hour-long one explaining it. And why it's not intelligent, and how
you explained it here too, which was a very good show. You came here and
then I did my half-hour video on how AI is basically being used to prepare children by sexually abusing them in order to prepare them for actual sexual abuse online and to groom them. I called AI the Jeffrey Epstein machine because it is. And that is not the most horrifying shit. Every time there's always something new, and it's like, God damn it. Every time, man.
Well, we're going to have you back. Send me a link. Why don't you make a link before we get this and send it to me on Discord so that I can send everybody over. I think everyone, it's the Quarantine Collective. Everybody needs to go over to his channel. As you can tell, Brooks really knows what he's talking about. Let me see here. Got a link.
You should be able to read into me. You should be able to read right into me.
All right. I will set that up right now. Any final thoughts before we go?
Now is not the time to lose hope. Period. It is, if anything, the fact he's going to pull this Jeffrey Epstein shit out for the next, 11 months means that we have 11 months to win this country back, and I mean that. And just tell everyone who supports him that they support a kid fucker. So that's just is he like, you're okay with a kid fucker? That's it. You win. You win every time.
All right. Thank you all for joining us, and it was delightful to be able to do 2 shows today and have Brooks back on. We will be raiding straight into him, so I hope you guys will at least stick around for a few minutes, see what his show is like and subscribe into his channel. He does do a lot of the protests as well. He does the AI, but for me, what I found interesting and what I saw on CNN when you were there was the protests and doing the frogs and explaining how and why and getting into that. So he is very much active in the community, trying to solve the vast number of problems that all of us are facing. He's the guy getting his hands dirty. So please do check out his channel. And Brooks, thank you again, and look forward to seeing you again soon. Thanks for because it was his idea. He just said, "Oh, Nick, you want to have me on?" I was just like, "Yeah, great." So thank you for the suggestion, and good to see you.
Thank you very much for having me, as always, Nick. Love your show.
All right, thank you so much. See you.